Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, shout out to my Louisiana VFW folks. They said, "Who dat?" That's the Saints cheer. We're still a little bitter about that being robbed of our Super Bowl victory. Thank you for the work you do, and I'll echo what Rose said. Thank you to the auxiliary as well, and Mr. Gallucci. I just want to kind of pick up where you are. One thing I think we can celebrate right now under this economy, there is record low unemployment for veterans. Isn't that fantastic? And when we speak of suicide, and we understand that having meaning in one's life is one of the things that helps prevent suicide, having a job, a well-paying job that gives one self-respect is obviously in that mix. But I've learned that transition is when many suicides take place, with most suicides occurring statistically within a short period after someone's separation from the service. And it's interesting, I was speaking to an employer back home, Performance Contracting, and I gather they're one of the leading employers of veterans, and they love veterans because they have a sense of how to work within a team, how to get a job done. They know deadlines, they know consequences if deadlines are not achieved, on and on. But they had to hire someone in particular to make sure they could navigate these programs to get these highly qualified people through the process to where they could achieve their potential working for Performance. So I applaud you for working on that transition. Again, I'm a physician. I've just learned that transition planning is most important. But it occurs to me they had to hire somebody to do it. It doesn't just happen seamlessly. What can we do on our side to make this work better? I know one of the things is that the office that does this might be a Department of Labor office, not technically under our jurisdiction, but do you have suggestions as to what we can do to make it, you don't have to hire an extra person to make it happen?
Well, a few items, actually, so thanks for asking that. I think actually a couple of our VFW SVA legislative fellows have talked about what happens after you transition off of active duty, and is there a way to have caseworkers that you can connect back to, or at least for an interim period, have access to the resources that the military made available to you while you were on active duty. There is precedent for this. There was a healthcare-centric program known as TAMP, that allowed those who were separated for medical reasons to get access to base resources. I was talking with one of our members during this conference, and he was basically telling me that, you know, what happens when a service member separates in California. They're used to all the resources that they have at Camp Pendleton or wherever, and they move back to Delaware, and they don't really know where to turn. The first place they're going to go to is probably going to be the military, but they're going to be locked out. So how do we... Is there any flexibility that we can have there? The next, we talk about the off-base transition training program in Commander-in-Chief's written testimony. And this pilot was well-intentioned but not very well executed with Department of Labor, and it was to do TAP-like training around the country. There was one place it was very successful, Senator Manchin's home state in West Virginia. They worked very closely with the National Guard to make sure that deployed members of the Guard and Reserve had access to this when they returned home. So we want to see a program similar to that, and the VFW has a tremendous infrastructure around the country that may be able to help leverage that. There wasn't much outreach when the OBTT pilot program was underway, and so we couldn't flex our muscle to assist wherever we could. But we're eager to do that and optimistic that there are some targets of opportunity to reach that very at-risk population.
Well, I'll just say that many of the things discussed, whether it's suicide or whether it's the ability to afford child care for a dependent, or many other things in your list, are addressed when somebody has better jobs with better wages and better benefits. So thank you all for what y'all are doing on that. It is my commitment to work with y'all as we help folks transition out of serving our country to being able to serve our country by other means. Thank you all very much.